2, 1. Okay, what's going on, PanFam? This is your co-host, your boy Aristotle, and it is the last show of the year. I hope everyone had a decently good finish to the year, despite everything, and Happy New Year's to everybody. So, while we get that out of the way, joining me today, of course, is Shazam in blue, Sick Nick, of course, white camouflage with his wall, and of course the fatty Gretchen, and the beautiful Emery in the house, who's very quiet right now. But anyway, Shazam, let's take it away for the last show.
Hey, what's going on? And thanks again, guys, for sticking with us through all of 2020. No matter where you are or however you listen to the podcast on YouTube. So, with that being said, I'm not playing devil's advocate. I'm seeing for real, like 2020 for the world took a big hit, but overall, personally, from a personal standpoint, 2020 was more of an eye opener to me, a huge eye opener. So that's just me, and I feel like 20 wasn't a complete shit year.
Me too.
That's just my opinion.
I agree.
But if you want to counteract that opinion, the doors are open.
I mean, I don't deny that some good things, by some I mean very few, good things did come up in 2020 for me. For example, diet and exercise. I've been taking that a lot more seriously by choosing healthy foods that I enjoy and shoe size I can personally benefit from. But apart from that, I would say it's been a terrible, terrible year, a year that I would rather just forget. In fact, I have some news to break from the day after Christmas. So who remembers my uncle that would live just upstairs in my house?
JJ's dad.
Was he the Tixta one?
No, different. That's a different uncle. I'm talking about the how should I say? Like, he kind of low-key looks like Chinese.
Fuck, I might. I honestly think it's been like a long ass time.
Okay, his name was Joseph. Do you remember an Uncle Joseph?
Unfortunately, no.
Remember the guy that used to drive the white truck?
Yeah, he used to drive.
Phil, you remember that guy? Though he was. Can someone move? There's
him.
That guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm not gonna make a long story here, but some time ago this year, he needed to get a heart bypass surgery because he was having some heart problems. We thought he was gonna get better, but turns out he wasn't. Even though heart bypasses normally have a 95% chance survival rate. On the day after Christmas, right before midnight, he unfortunately passed away in my own home in a home converted hospice just in the back of my parents' room.
Oh.
Yeah.
And
although personally he and I kind of had our disagreements here and there, I still love him to death, which kind of brings up this question for me, because out of everyone that was mourning his passing, I was the only one who didn't cry, even though I was clearly saddened by his death. So this is the question. Do you think just because you're not crying, does that mean you're not grieving?
Nope.
No.
I mean, when my grandma passed away, my dad doesn't show any emotions, but I know deep down he's hurt, like, really sad. It's just, I mean, yeah, people, like, I feel like boys, they don't really want to express it, but I know that you guys will, somehow express it.
We just don't want to look vulnerable, but yes, we feel it.
That is true, but that is not necessarily true for all guys, because my cousin, his son, he's named after, Joseph Jr., which we all call him JJ for short. 19 years old, very bright kid. he was in complete shambles when it all happened.
Well, that's his
And-
dad, though, Nick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. But he wasn't the only one. My brothers were also in tears when it happened. So I wouldn't count my reaction to be the same for, everybody, especially among my brothers, because my brothers were the ones who, had like a real closeness that I wasn't fully aware of when he was alive.
Well, that's the thing with like death. Like people do have like different reactions to it, and I'm kind of I was kind of and kind of what Gretchen's saying about her dad like not being like emotional at the time of their grandmother's passing. It never like I had this feeling when my grandma passed away like little over a decade ago, and I never want to accept the feeling. That was me. It was not so much I wanted to cry. I just didn't want to. I didn't want to accept. I didn't want to accept the reality. So.
Okay.
Because everyone grieves differently, you know. Like
Yeah, everybody's different.
my uncle passed away recently too, and he was my dad's brother. But I think he's like he doesn't really express his feelings. Like he's sad about it, but he didn't cry about it. I think he just accepts death. Like everybody lives, but everybody dies. But he just knows that my uncle's in a better place, so he just accepts that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the day, I think it was the day or couple of days, I think on Christmas Eve before he passed away, he actually was able to make it back home on Christmas Eve despite his deteriorating condition. Anyway, a day or two before he passed, I was going through a mini anxiety episode on thinking like, my uncle is gonna die and there's nothing any of us can do about it. But eventually, come time, December 26th, the day of his death, well, more like hours, just mere hours before he died, I ultimately, came to terms with it, which is why I reacted pretty much calmly to everything that
Wait,
happened.
real quickly. So you kind of already knew that you had a
Well,
feeling?
we all knew, but for me personally, I can't say for everybody in the family, but for me personally, I already came to terms with it.
Okay. All right. So I guess in a way you premeditated the grievance process. That's why you didn't like outright cry when it actually happened, because mentally you were already
Yeah.
there. But it's fine.
Like me,
Yeah.
I cried in fall 808 when I found out my grandma passed away, and it was because I thought she was gonna live, because she also had a heart surgery. She had the triple bypass, but that
Oh,
was a
shit.
long time ago. Yeah, but her legs were just, there were no circulation, so she couldn't walk anymore. So yeah, so I didn't think she was gonna pass because they had to amputate it, but they did. And then yeah, so I think the day after they amputated her legs, like she was like fine, but then a couple days after she passed away, and I was so ashamed because I was in Pho 808 and we were eating pho, and we didn't even order yet. And then I don't want to think about it, sorry, but
Who texted you?
she passed away.
Who told you about
Did
it?
someone text you, or did they just straight up call you?
My mom and dad called me, and my dad was like, same thing. My dad didn't show emotion, but he was like you, Nick. Like when I got to the hospital, he was like you. Like it was just really bad. Like I don't like talking about it and thinking about it,
It's
but
fine.
when I saw my dad, he was just quiet. But the whole time, I was so ashamed because I was like in the hospital room, like crying, like really bad. And it's weird bringing this up because my grandma passed away December 28th, and literally her death anniversary was like 2 days ago, and I had like a breakdown because I haven't felt like this. Like it's been a long time. Like
Right. No, we got you.
but yeah, I feel your pain. Like I know it's okay to not like show emotion, Nick, but it's normal. I feel like everybody's different and like how they react to it. Like at least you were mentally prepared. I wasn't prepared at all. Like I was just in fall 808 eating. It was nighttime, Dio and I, and then and my brothers were crying. My brothers, they were crying. They,
Yeah.
of course, yeah, like your brothers, they were crying too, right? They were tearing.
Yeah, but they
Yeah,
weren't
so-
crying. They weren't crying as hard as his son.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, I think.
And
That's-
well,
Sorry, go ahead, Nick.
his older sister Joanna, although she was crying too, obviously, she was kind of like me, where she kind of came to terms with the fact that her father wasn't going to survive. Because from what I heard from my brother, she said that between the two children, JJ was the one who would stay by his dad's side until the very end. As for Joanna, it even got to the point where JJ would intentionally deprive himself of sleep for the last 2 days. That's how dedicated he was to staying by his father's side. For Joanna's case, though, she was basically, from what I heard, she was basically sleeping soundly in spite of everything that was about to happen. And in JJ's case, of course, none of the children had an obligation to do this, but JJ, considering how close he is by his father and considering how he's actually named after him and all that, he voluntarily stayed right there, fully committed to his, duty, for lack of a better term.
Well, I think with Joanna or Joanne.
Joanna.
I think with Joanna, she was kind of like in your boat, where she kind of just, gave in already. Came into terms of her dad dying, so she didn't want to invoke any more pressure or stress on her. So she couldn't even see her father in that state. Whereas JJ, his pride is very strong, so he's like, you know what, Dad, you're gonna make it. So he's like there at the last, even to the last day. Even though everything didn't work out, but that's just my take.
Yeah.
But like you said, everyone grieves in different ways. Like when Josh died, you guys know Josh, my super close friend. Like it didn't really hit me till like days after. I didn't cry, but I was like shaking when I finally like gave into it. I was like, oh shit, he's gone. Like I still have pictures of him on my phone. It's just crazy.
I was looking back at our old Snapchats, like when we had like when we
The
played
karaoke?
pool and like
karaoke,
karaoke and the when we'd eat out. It's so sad.
Yeah, but life goes on, as they say. But
Yeah.
I just grieved in just more laid out kind of thing. I didn't like cry like right away. It was kind of like over a week or 2 weeks process where I just like felt really sad. But yeah, life's hard, man.
It's interesting that you mentioned shaking, because that also happened to me when I was at the hospital the night my grandmother passed away. I never could understand why, even till now, like why the fuck was I shaking?
It's just nerves.
I think
So-
you was trying to like hold back your
Yeah.
tears, but you couldn't.
Yeah.
It's
I
normal.
do that. Like when I try to hold in my crying, like I shake.
Yeah. Because when my grandma passed, the whole like she passed away in the hospital too. The whole if you were in our floor, I was screaming, like I was crying, like I don't even like thinking about it, but I let it out. Like if you know me, I'm a crybaby. My grandma knows I'm a crybaby, so of course I freaking screamed. Like I was so bad. Like Dio knows, even Jay.
That's
'Cause
good.
Ryan
Just let it
gave
all
it.
out. Yeah, if your
Yeah,
love for
I
that
had
person was
to.
that strong, just there's no point in holding it in. So
Yep.
same thing with my dad when his dad when his dad
Yeah,
I'm not
when his mom.
I'm not
died.
gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. Even now, I sometimes I remember almost every day. My uncle would walk in the hallway.
Am I good now?
Outside of the house. The hallway that's where the stairs to the upstairs is going, and where my
Should be
back
that.
door is. Yeah, he would always pass by through there for pretty much almost any reason, whether it's necessary or just for leisure. He would pass by through. I sometimes feel like he's still walking in that hallway right now, even though I know he's gone.
Yeah, there's stages to grief. That's probably denial, maybe sometimes. It's just hard to accept that he's gone. So you're
It's
still
really
like,
hard to accept.
so you're still like,
It's really,
processing.
it's gonna take time. Like when my grandma passed, like it just felt like she was just sleeping.
Yeah.
But she's gone, and it took me a really long time for me to get. Yeah, it really took me a while. Like took me a couple of years. And then when her death anniversary was 2 days ago, I don't know about you guys, like your religion, but I'm Catholic, so I prayed the rosary on her death anniversary. And you can ask Dio, I was so ashamed. After I prayed, I went to lay down, and like, oh, that feeling, like how when somebody passes, it just came out. Like I kept,
You couldn't
I
hold it
held
back.
everything in. I held it in. So it's okay to like feel like that. Like honestly, I don't know. It's just different for me, but they react differently. But yeah, I'm trying not to cry right now.
But
But
the main
I
thing is
really
we're all
cried a
sad
lot.
for that person. Even though we react differently, there's still sadness over us. But
I
that's
mean,
normal.
I know. Yeah, I mean, I know normal. I know crying is normal, and I'm basically used to seeing someone cry for pretty much any reason, especially in this case where you know a family member has passed away. It's just that whenever, considering that I did not cry at all, out of everybody who shed tears, I didn't shed a single tear. I always felt like I was kind of a minority where, like, yes, it's clear that I'm sad, but no water came out of my eyes whatsoever, knowing that this relative of mine, who is close to me both metaphorically and literally, is now no longer with us.
That's fine. You still felt it in some way. I mean,
that's the thing.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
ask Phil actually. How did you react when your grandma passed? Was it similar to Nick?
It was much similar to Nick. Like, not only was I how I mentioned earlier, I was shaking, but and also the fact that like I couldn't accept it for the first couple days. Like
Uh-huh.
my mind at the time was just not accepting it. And so was like everyone else in the family. Like not everyone was accepting it. I mean, I know my dad, oddly enough, he accepted it. So
Was that your dad's mom?
Did he cry?
He accepted. He cried, but like it wasn't like crazy crying. Like it wasn't like
Sobbing.
Yeah, it wasn't like sobbing crying, but
Yeah.
it was crying to the point where he's like he already like
Accepted it.
pretty much like Nick. Like he already he already knew, and he was like
Accepted
he was
it.
already being like prepared for what was about to already happen. So
Okay.
but yeah, man, and I remember being there at Waiua General Hospital, which I'm not to kill the mood, but that just hospitals in general are just creepy as fuck, guys.
It is, yeah. I've been there.
Is it
It's like
because it's old? Yeah.
Like, it's creepy.
No, just hospitals in general just creeps me the hell out.
Oh yeah, it's
Especially when it's
haunted.
dark and you're like the only one in the hallway.
And
you're like,
especially
"My light's gonna
when
flicker
it's
any
like
moment."
almost like 2 o'clock. Yeah, like no, it's like almost 2 o'clock in the morning, and you're like, so
Well, hospitals is like bittersweet, because like the best things can happen in the hospital, like births and stuff and babies, but bad things can happen in the hospital too, like death. It's basically life and death in one place.
Yep.
Yeah.
Scary.
Pretty much. But yeah.
it's like it's like a phasmophobia map waiting to happen, like, literally. Well, I mean, we kind of have
Hospital?
one. No, the asylum, right?
I know, but like if they made a hospital map, it would feel just like that.
Yeah.
Oh, it would definitely be more than 3 floors. Definitely, it would definitely be more than 3 floors.
Because asylums and hospitals are totally different from each other.
Well, not in the way where they
And-
take care of people that are sick. They're similar in that. Everything else, yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, both
Yeah, I'm
pretty
sorry.
creepy.
I'm sorry for your loss, Nick, and I'm sorry for everybody else that had to go through that because
Mm.
it's hard.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's why always keep in touch. Like always love your family and always
because
Yeah.
because you know why? Because tomorrow is never guaranteed. I've been hearing that phrase
That's
so often. Another
Yep.
another phrase that should be added on to like things that people need to hear like throughout life.
Yeah, live every day like your last.
So
Yep. Excuse you.
Treat every day like a treasure. Before we get to lighter topics, actually, I wanted to have a quick add-on question to that, Nick.
sure.
So I guess in how you cope with it, you kind of premeditated it already, right? Because you kind of
Yeah.
saw the end or was seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak.
Mhm.
How would you react to that same way if like would your own parents or friends, or would it be harder?
For my friends,
Or siblings.
it would be okay if it was my friend that was dying. It would be pretty much almost the same with my uncle. Like, yes, we were close, but it wasn't the kind of closeness that was like intimate as a parents. Because parents they've been with you your entire life. If it was a sibling, then yes, I would definitely I would definitely be in shambles, especially since, like I said, siblings have been with you your entire life. Well, depending on how old you are, but for the most part, they have been with you your entire life. Now, your parents, I would say, is like, it's probably like the loss of your parents would probably be one of the most devastating things because they did bring you into existence. They cared for you, nurtured you, and all that stuff like that. They pretty much provided literally everything you wanted and needed for you. And the fact that when the time comes that they'll be gone, there's just no way I will be able to hold back the floodgates despite my mental and emotional threshold
Right.
appearing otherwise right now.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why now it's not just me, but pretty much all the children in the family, me, Deether, Jeriel, JJ, and Joanna, are all taking our health very seriously because, in my honest opinion, my uncle did not have to die like that, especially since he just reached 60 years old, maybe like a couple months before all of this happened. Um, Ever since this happened, I basically made it my lifetime. Well, I wouldn't say it's just me, but I would say it's all 5 of us in our own secret individual ways. We essentially made it. Yeah, okay. Now I'm speaking for pretty much all 5 of us. We made it our lifelong mission
You're
to not only become healthier and stronger selves